How do I win against backward pawns? How can I attack them? How can I win games like this one? If you want to know, guys, I welcome you to another video. If you haven't yet, check out the other ones. Also showing you how to exploit weaknesses, how to specifically in those videos attack backward pawns. In this video, let's jump right into it. We have white with the open file, the rook already positioned on a1. We have the light squared bishop and the knight on f3. For black, we have the backward pawn on b7, and we have the three pieces all quite passively on the 8th rank. Okay, white to move, and oops, king f1 was played. The point of king f1 is, if you have already seen right now, black plays e5 to break open the center, to make room for his pieces, and white can't really prevent that. So, thinking ahead, king f1, after e5, the king can then move to e2 to protect the bishop. Because if we take like this, of course, this pawn is not protected anymore, which is taken by the rook. And white plays king to e2, getting the king more active, protecting the bishop. So far, so good. Now black plays f6 to kick out the knight from the strong square in the center. We have the move, of course, knight to c4, trying to get into b6 to put more pressure on the queen side, protected by the bishop, and also looking at d6 as a potential outpost. Yeah, black plays rook d8, and white puts his own rook on the second rank, on the 7th rank from his point of view. The king moves to d7 to go and help with the defense. And now, as we mentioned before, knight b6, check. King to c7, protecting the pawn. And how do we apply more pressure to the pawn, to the queenside structure of black? We play bishop h6. We're not afraid because the pawn is pinned. Black with more defensive forces. And here he plays knight to d6. Of course, if white takes, then black could take here. But before we go on, let's have a look at another move. For example, king to b8. And you will see king to b8 leads to knight takes c8. Then b takes a6. Knight e7. And black cannot take the rook. I mean, he has to take the rook. But now we take the pawn. We get the rook in the next move. And we have a passed pawn and one extra pawn on the king side. Alternatively, if we go back to this position, knight takes on c8. If the rook, so before we looked at b takes a6, but if the rook takes, then we have rook takes b7. King, of course, only has a8. And yeah, we can pick up another pawn because our bishop is now attacking the rook. Like this. And we also easily win because we have two extra pawns on the king side. So, in the game, knight d6 was played. And white takes on c8. The king takes. Now we take the knight. The bishop is taken. And rook to c7, picking up another pawn in the next move. The king has to move to b8. That's the only square. We pick up the other pawn on c6. Trying to get the king back into action. Rook to c7. King b6. And now black has a passed pawn as well. And white takes on g7. And looks like very easy and promising position. And I'll show you guys what exactly happened in the game. So now the black rook took on d6, rook to g6, attacking the next pawn, king to c5. And of course this pawn, even if it moves, yeah, black cannot defend it because it's not an option to use the square on d5. That's why he didn't even bother and played king to c5 instead. The rook takes the next pawn, king d4, king f3. And now black's only chance is to make use of the a pawn, a5, king f4, a4, and now a very critical moment in the game. Here, white played rook to h5, and that's a big mistake because now it will end up in a draw, and I will show you the alternative as well. But first, we will look at the game, how it was played out, and this was with rook to h5, and black continued with rook to a6, rook to d5 check, king c3, trying to really push through with his own pawn, which white responds to by bringing the rook to d1, a3. I mean, you see black is not doing anything else but pushing the pawn and supporting the push. And now white tries to push his own pawns. King f5, a2, f4, a queen on a1. We have to take the queen. The rook takes, the king takes, and now it's a rook against the 4 pawns, but it is actually a draw with rook to a6, king to f5, king d4, e5, king d5, g3, rook to a8, king f6, rook to a6, king g5, rook a8, and now now a draw was agreed. There's no way for white to push the pawns. Feel free to check it out for yourself. It's not the topic of this video. That's why, yeah, have fun exploring the endgame and all the possibilities how to eventually lose the game as black as well. But yeah, it's a draw. And from the one mistake, we will go back to it. And it was the move after a4 by black, rook h5. And the winning move here is not rook to h5, but rook to h3. To control this square, do not allow a3. And now we will go through different possibilities. For example, rook to a6. And now we can effectively block the pawn, which will take like way more time now to push through with this pawn. King to c4. And now we already play h4 and try to push our own pawns. King to b4, rook a1, a3, king f5, a2. And you see the difference, guys. We already have those 2 pawns here. King b3, h5, and black really has to spend time on getting our rook out of the corner like it is. And now we can actually take with a check. The king takes, h6, and now we will be able to promote the pawns. Another example after rook h3 is rook to e6, trying to attack this pawn. Now we can play rook to e3, supporting the pawn, a3. We can actually take the pawn now. Black can give a check, king to f5, rook to e2, and we can successfully defend our pawns. And technically, yeah, we're up 2 pawns and we can win the game because there's no longer any threat of black having a queen in some moves. All right, guys, that's it. And let's take a quick look at this position again. Quick summary of what happened. Black very well planning ahead, played king to f1 first to get the king active and support the bishop, and then slowly and steadily increase the pressure on the hanging pawn, on the backward pawn, by simply keeping the center quite stable and now moving in on the queen side. And you can really see the bishop, the knight, and the rook. They don't look too happy in this position. And whereas with every move, white can make some kind of progress in the position, give it a check, and black is basically only defending. It ended in a draw, but yeah, it was a one position, just to show you guys. Like picking up all the pawns, and effectively we are up 2 pawns on the king side, 3 pawns now. And yeah, from one mistake here in this position, black lost the opportunity to win. That's another topic, studying the endgame and understanding how to win those kind of endgames, like pawns against the rook. And yeah, that's how the game ended in a draw. Stay tuned for more chess, leave a like and a comment, and enjoy your day.